going to go ahead and start this and see if anyone shows up. Rainy day in New England.
Yes,
Is it raining where you are?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have these skylights right above me, so it's actually quite noisy, but I enjoy it. It's meditative.
Same. I have a metal roof right where I am here too, and it's just awesome. If I can crack the window a little bit too, I just love it. I love it. And it's been so warm, we can do that.
Yes, warm rain.
Thursday morning in New England, 2 weeks out from Thanksgiving, and boy, we have a lot to be thankful for this year because we've made it this far.
Yes.
It's been crazy. All right, before I get started with Brittany today, and you guys are going to love listening to Brittany today. We were just saying that the topic she's going to be covering is really timely. I think the conversations that I've been having this week in a lot of the networking groups and my accountability groups have been on working smarter, not harder, like really making a commitment to your minimal viable product so that you're working in flow and you're working smarter. So I'm really looking forward to that conversation. I do want to take a few minutes at the beginning, as I do, to talk briefly about something that I've actually been talking about it more and more, right? Talking about minimum viable product. I personally have come to the conclusion in my own business that even though I love and I do work one-on-one with my clients in all of the digital, right? We look at the search optimization and the website and the calls to action, and we look at social media strategies, content calendar, where I'm really spending my time now because I do feel it's the best thing that people can be doing to make the future commitment to their business and to their income is to have a list growth strategy. And what that is, how can you get more people on your email list? I know you guys, like people are like, oh, I get so much email, we don't even read it, but it works. And it's the best way to spread to have almost a conversation with the people that have asked to be on your list. And that's the important part, that it's permission based. So what we've been working on really strongly the past couple of months with our clients is creating a yummy lead generator. So you guys hear lead generator a lot probably. And so lead generator it's your freebie. It's also called a lead magnet. It can be called an irresistible free offer and lots of words for it. But basically you get to be generous. You get to give somebody something and all they have to do is say, may I please? And they give you their email address. And then you give them something yummy. It can be huge, big. I was talking with Lisa Campion the other day. She gives a full 4-part mini course on being a psychic healer. That is very, very generous. And it's because she has so much content, has been doing this for so many years. But if you're just getting started out, it can be something super simple, like a checklist, 5 things, 10 things. Mm-hmm. Some people like those lists of, 8 things to never to do. That's a good one. If that's even much for you and you're comfortable on video, you might just send out a video message or a meditation. Basically something that shows people that you care about what their struggles are and their challenges are, and that you have ways to be able to help them get through that. So lead generator. And so, all right, so you create this thing, this lead generator, this freebie, it's a gift. Now, how do you get people, what does that have to do with your email list? So I'm going to share my screen super quickly because I really want to get to what Brittany's going to be talking about today, but I did make a commitment to this today. So Brittany, do you see my screen? It says constant contact at the top. Okay, yeah. I did it right. Okay, so this is an article. I'll drop this link into the conversation here. This is an article from Constant Contact about how easy it is to create landing pages on their platform. And so what a landing page is, it can be super simple. Here's a super simple one that I made for one of my freebies. It's like how to create your one-liner, which basically is an image and then like a 2-page checklist or something. So super simple like this. Or it can be much longer. And when you go into constant contact, you go to the landing pages creation part of it, you can create something really that ends up looking, sorry, scroll down too far. It ends up looking like a website page. And you have an opportunity to put links in there if you want to. I would recommend that you keep it super simple. Keep one call to action, and that call to action is download your free gift, or get your meditation now. So whatever that is. So now people have to give you their email address, and you give them the gift. And then here's another thing, because it's about being generous and about nurturing. Make sure that you've set up an automated welcome email after they've downloaded your gift. Have something scheduled to go out, and it says, hey there, thanks for subscribing to my list. It's important that they understand that right away so they don't unsubscribe later. Thanks so much for signing up to receive my such and such. You've been added to my list. Just in case you didn't get it when you filled out the form, here it is again. And a brief statement like your mission statement or the problem you solve, and a link for them to take action. Again, super important to have a call to action. Schedule your free call with me. Follow me on Facebook, whatever it is. That welcome email is going to be opened. Like a regular email you send, you guys, might be opened, I don't know, mine are like 25% right now. On a good day, 30 something percent. A welcome email is opened almost 80% of the time. And it's a really good place to start nurturing your content. So I talk about this over and over and over again. I'm running workshops right now on exactly this topic. I'll throw that link in the chat as well, and in this in the content for this talk. But now I'm going to shrink that screen, because what I really want to see is Brittany, and invite you to learn more about Brittany. I'm going to go ahead, Brittany, and read your official bio that you sent to me.
Okay.
You ready? Hold on, I have to look for it. I'm scrolling. Okay, I got it. Brittany helps entrepreneurs make more money, become stronger leaders, and find fulfillment in the process. Businesses hire Brittany to improve performance and develop leaders. She is obsessed with mastering human motivation and perfecting business management. When she's not in the office, Brittany is a mom to 2 little girls, and she loves to kite surf. I'm so glad you're here. Brittany, when I asked Brittany what her superpower was, she said it's finding blind spots in your business and improving your people skills. What can you tell me about that superpower, Brittany? Like, how did you realize that was your superpower, and how to use it?
Yeah, it's so funny. My husband asked me that the other day. He goes, well, how did you really learn to do that? It was so funny that he was asking me, because he has to hear about it all the time. But what I realized was how valuable just outside eyes are on your business. And something that would seem so obvious to me wasn't so obvious to other people. And I started making note of that. And a long time ago, when I started my business, I started as a psychologist, which is my background. And I saw the insights people would have from just, again, having an outside pair of eyes on their life. And I realized that I couldn't do that for myself, even though I had all this training and whatnot. It was really the element of being removed from it by some degree that person was able to show me blind spots, right? So I was able to show people blind spots and more with a personal life focus, simply because I wasn't in the weeds of their life all day long. I didn't have the emotional attachment and the stories, the belief systems that we create around things that was clouding or fogging, my ability to really gain clarity on what was going on and what to do next. And so I took that same concept and I've applied it to people in their business, because what I realized, and this is literally the basis of all my work, is that you take you everywhere you go. So whether you're at home and you have personal behavior stuff, patterns in relationships, old issue with a friend or your kid, those same kind of patterns show up in your work, whether you are working through a difficult conversation with a client or negotiating with a vendor or a consultant, like how, whatever like ways we've blocked ourselves before, those things are also showing up in our business. And the difference here is there's a real cost associated with it when it shows up in business. And so my superpower is to show you those ways in which you might be stopping yourself from fully actualizing what you're capable of, building that minimum viable product and just getting it out there, right? And show you how to move forward with the patterns that are helping you and stop the patterns that aren't serving you anymore.
You know, I love what you said, the outside eyes pointing out the patterns that might be holding you back. If you guys are on that chat right now, give me a thumbs up if you've ever given advice to a friend and she said, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that. That's so important. Or if you've received advice like that. So many of us right now are, we're in networking groups, but many more people now are in these like tight, like mastermind accountability groups. And I think that's part of the magic there, is that if you're in accountability group, as I am, and a shout out to my think tank ladies, if you're in a place where people will give you brutal honesty and feedback because they see things that you don't see, that's a gift. So that's a wonderful thing that you bring to that. So we were going to talk today. We had the topic of and I forgot what it is because it was so juicy, and I wanted to jump right in there, right? Right, the 5 things. The 5 things. So what are the 5 things?
So number 1, I love to start with is the concept of serving versus selling.
Yes.
And this is great because no matter what you do, this would apply to you. If you are in business, you have a service or a product that solves a problem. When we started out in business, we were really excited about this, whatever your thing is, right? Like you were excited, you could solve people's problems, you could make their lives better. Like this was great. But once we get bogged down with the day to day and it starts to feel like a grind, we forget that we are working with real people, solving real problems, creating real impact. And we get bogged down with all the minutia and it becomes work and it starts to feel more like selling. And then you hear people talk about, oh, like I can help you, like I'm the sales pro, blah, blah, blah. But if you just tap back in to those original ideas, that original passion, the things that lit you up and got you excited about what you do, you'll remember that this is an act of true service. That to not put your gifts out there in the world, you are not allowing people the opportunity to benefit from that special gift that you have, right? And to remember that to stay in service feels so good. Like think about when you give a gift to somebody, we're about to like enter that season. You're so excited to like give them that gift because you want them to be happy. You're excited to give them something that they would really appreciate. But the same exact thing is true in your business. When you tap back into that energy and you're reminded of that, then it's no longer about selling. It's just providing that opportunity and matching yourselves with the right people who really value what it is you do. And then everybody wins. Everybody leaves that interaction feeling good. And that's exactly why you started this business in the first place.
You are speaking my language.
Good.
Like, it's so true. And people who are in the Rise Above Noise Facebook group pretty much know that, right? That is the key to what it is, why we do what we do. And it's particularly when you are heart-centered entrepreneurs, but even if you don't consider yourself a heart-centered entrepreneur, if you don't consider yourself that, but you do know that you're doing the work that you're doing for a reason. It's the people who you know that their work is sucking the life out of them are the people who haven't realized what I think you've just said, Brittany.
Right. And you know what, like I'm guilty of it too. I just want to like put that out there that there are times where I have a lot going on and I just need to like get through the steps, right? And I forget, no, like this is important. And when I lose that connection, it doesn't feel good for me anymore either. So imagine what it feels like for your clients or your customers on the receiving end of that. What differentiates you is probably not price, but it's about you, the unique
Mhm.
things you offer. And in order to show up that way, we need to be reminded that what we do is truly serving people. And so it's a responsibility to show up and make that available. And that's what can make the difference.
So true. Christy's saying that it's true. And she says that it's a much easier perspective to come from, right? Then it doesn't feel like struggle.
So much easier. And that's why I make this the number one distinction in my work, because often we just need that reminder. I need that reminder myself. And this can, just remind yourself, am I serving? Am I selling today? Can really shift that energy and that focus for
I
you.
love that. I love it. So the second thing I saw on your list is consumption versus creation. I'm curious to see what you have to say about that.
And we can get trapped in this. So one thing I have people start out with is, I don't know, if you have an iPhone, you can go to your settings and you can open that up and you can look at screen time. And it's going to give you, talk about the brutal feedback. It's going to give you the cold, hard truth about how much time you've been spending on your device and what apps you've been spending it on. And even if you're using social media for business, like, come on, we know you're not spending that much time making posts. The reason why I have people look at this is to first reflect on how you're currently spending your time and look for the opportunities to create content in that time, not just consume it. There's two dangers with overconsumption. First and foremost, we don't feel good often at the end of just consuming mindlessly. We're often using it as a procrastination tool, like, oh, just let me get on real quick, or I don't really want to start that big thing, or, Susan told me I need to do video more or make this welcome series. Let me just do this real quick. And we're all guilty of that. That's okay. But I hear all the time, I don't have time. I don't have time to create content. I don't have time to, put out original stuff. You do. And that's why I show you your screen time, because there's the time right there. I'm not about adding more things onto people's plates unless you can actually find the space for it. So there's the space. The second danger of overconsumption is that you will lose your original thoughts.
Oh,
If you spend your time reading everybody else's emails and consuming all their awesome content, you will lose your originality. You will get lost in other people's words and will start to look like mimicry. Now, that's okay to some extent. Like, I get a lot of great ideas from looking at what other people are doing, but I take it in, I mix it around with all the stuff I know and the belief systems I have. And usually when it comes back out, it really is originally mine. So it's okay to look at other people's stuff and get ideas and get inspired, but make sure that you have the space to create stuff that is truly yours, because that's what your customers want. They don't want my stuff. If people are on your email list and they're following you, they want your stuff. So make sure that when you're creating, you have the clarity of mind and you're not overly flooded with what other people are doing. I can't hear you,
nope,
Susie.
I was muted for a minute.
Okay.
We talk about that an awful lot. And I do say that when we talk about creating a content strategy or using frequently asked questions or having a repository of content at your ready, that it limits exactly what you're talking about. Because if you don't know what you're going to write about, then you go and you say, oh, I wonder what, and in my case, it would be Amy Porterfield. I wonder what Amy Porterfield's talking about today. Maybe I'll talk about what she talks about. And then, of course, I'm going to read something and then it's going to link to one of her other things. And you guys probably do this too. Or, oh, that's interesting. Who's she that she's talking about? Jenna Kutcher? Let me go over there. And then 3 hours later, you're like, wait, what was I doing?
Yes.
Right? That's so true.
Mm-hmm.
So true.
Yeah, so it's okay. We've all had those moments, but the more you pay attention and the more you kind of control for your own success by having that content calendar, an editorial calendar, or scheduling the time. I call it eat the frog. If
Mm-hmm.
you can right away just sit down and do the most important work, then you can have time to consume and scroll a bit aimlessly. That's fun too, but make sure you're doing your most important work first.
I just typed that in caps. That was so good. Putting that in the chat. So your next tip is saying yes or no. Do you have to know, Brittany, that you were here for, like, I'm getting a little coaching session from you. All of these are like, remember, Susan, remember? So yes versus no. Tell me about that.
That's why I have it structured that way. So thanks for that feedback. So when we first start out in business, we say yes to everything.
Mhm.
We're so excited that, oh my gosh, it's working. And someone showed up and somebody wants what I have to offer. And like, it's super exciting. So we say yes to a lot. I remember when I first started, somebody wanted to meet with me at 7 a.m. Sure. Someone wants to meet with me at 8 p.m. Sure. Yes, 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 yes. Like, and we get energized by it and it's awesome. But there comes this really, really important maturation point where you need to start saying no. And no becomes the overall focus. And here's why. When we're first building up, we want to have that proof of concept. We need to work with clients, or we need to, have them have our products so that we can get the feedback. We can hone in on, what are the best attributes. We can make changes and adaptations. But once you start to get busy enough, it's time to protect your time, because that becomes your greatest asset. So you can't just give it away at whoever's asking. You need to really start vetting how you spend your time, whether it's choosing which live streams you sign up for, or who you allow time on your calendar. Like, I no longer have a public link that's just like, sign up to talk with me, because that was taking up too much of my time. And I have a stronger vetting process now first before people get time on my calendar. And that can actually really serve you too. It changes, how people view your availability. And that kind of exclusion is a thing that can prop up the supply and demand. So if I want to like take that 3 steps backward and rebuild that for you. So the more that you put a limiter on your time, the more you kind of create some boundaries around your availability, then it can increase your demand because you just limited the supply. Now, that allows you to either play with your pricing or use that limiter, that exclusivity, as a way to further prop up that demand when you talk about it in your emails, when you talk about it on social media. So it can be something to actually aid you. And then you have this other time that you've set aside to work on creating content, improve your process, your service, your product, get customer feedback. There's a lot of things that you can do now to work on your business to make improvements, instead of just being in your business all day long, talking with people that might not have a return that you're looking for.
I have to let that sit there for a second. That was so good. You guys, if you're listening to this on the replay, I would say go back a little bit and listen to that all over again. And I think it's just so good. It's especially right now, right? Like, this year was so wonky, and people are like ready for more, ready to, show up in a bigger way, ready to do the things where you're talking about the minimal viable product, like do the things that are going to make a difference. And if you just take that chunk that Brittany just talked about, and just that, like, we're talking about so many juicy things today. That was so good. Awesome. But we have more. I'm going to keep track of the time. Oh, we're almost out of time. So let's go through. Oh, you had 2 things: probability versus possibility, questions versus answers.
So I'll be brief on those 2, just so people can get the full structure. When I work with people, we start out with a vision, because we need to know where we're going, and that dictates what kind of strategy we use, what kind of tools we need, and which direction you need to grow in order to get there. Now, I find that I'm asking people to create anything that's possible. Give me a vision of literally anything. And I find most people just like, eke out like 10% more from where they're already at. And I call that probability. If you're working on something and you're building something, it is very likely that you're just going to get there. Like, 10%, 20% beyond where you're at. But I want to live in the realm of possibility. I need you to go to that dream that's a bit uncomfortable, the one that you actually don't speak out loud and you don't tell people about. And there's a reason for that. It's because in some ways, we actually don't want to be held accountable to that measuring stick because it feels so huge. But the truth is that if you never set your sights on that, if you never correctly aim your trajectory for that seemingly impossible goal or vision, you'll never get there. It is so important to have the confidence to say it out loud, the confidence to commit to it, to even start talking about it and really structure that vision. From there, you start to actually build the ladder to get you there. But again, that's why possibility is so important instead of living and staying in probability.
Awesome. Awesome. I have a
And
quick
then,
question for
oh
you
yeah,
from Christy Johnson. Christy wants to know, can you talk a minute about the vetting process?
sure. So I do things a little differently than a lot of people do. I offer a big consultation, like 90 minutes or 2 hours. And that is not typical. But what I do first is if somebody reaches out to me, I will ask a few questions about their business, like why did you reach out to me? Like what was happening that day? Because it gives me a lot of information. And what are you hoping to gain from coaching? And then I will hop on the phone with them for about 15 minutes, usually 10 minutes to get a feel for one, did they answer the phone on time? That's a big indicator. And how did they talk about what's going on for them? And that'll give me a lot of information about goodness of fit. Now, if I deem that I think it's a possibility to have goodness of fit, then I will offer them the full consultation. This has saved me so much time because I'm not even getting on the phone unless they do a second back and forth with email. So that shows they're committed. Then once I get on the phone, I'm evaluating those values, goodness of fit. How do they answer questions? Where are they really at to make sure that they're the right fit for me? I ask if they've been on my website. I have more information about how I work there to see how resourceful has this person been. And then I know once they've done those things, they really are committed to this process. They're ready to take the next step. And then I'm willing to open up my calendar at that point.
Awesome. Thanks. And do you have time? Do you have another minute or so you can
Yeah.
do the last questions versus answers?
Yes. So I find that a lot of people are looking for answers, right? So I joined the stream today. I want someone to tell me exactly what to do next. I want someone to show me the way, to get there. And it's okay to seek like that. You're curious, you want to know, but instead of looking for somebody else to give you answers, what if instead you focus on asking yourself better questions?
Mm.
So I was working with a team of entrepreneurs the other day, and they're working on this actually like new invention. We're going to get a patent for it, and they're solving a really cool problem. I can't really talk about it, but I said, they're trying to do a workaround someone else's patent that they already have. And I said, no, forget that parameter. Take it way back. Forget any patents ever exist. How would you solve the problem from that place? And all of a sudden they had 3 new ideas that didn't even come close to that other person's patent. But when we get so honed in and see what other people are doing, we start to just look for their answers. Tell me what you did. Tell me what you did, guru or person who's, seems big and famous on the internet, instead of dialing it way back and making sure we're asking the right questions for us.
Can you give me an example of what that would be like? So for instance, many of the people that might be listening to us talking right now we're a lot of service-based professionals, solopreneurs, ready to take it to the next level. Maybe we're creating content or podcasts or workshops. How would we apply what you've just said to the work we're doing?
Sure. So I'd start with the question of why. Why are you doing any of this in the first place? So I find a lot of people think, oh, the next step for me is to create a course or start a podcast or write a book, because that's what everybody else is doing in the information age. And that's not necessarily your path. If you tap back into, why did I do this? Why did I choose this entrepreneurship path in the first place? Because you know what? Most days it's certainly easier to just go out and clock in somewhere and do a job. And that there's a reason for your why. It's in there, but you need to get really in touch with it and make sure it's still really true for you, because that will inform your how, which is the next step. Okay. So don't start with the what, like, here's what I want to get. I want to get $1 million. I want to get the perfect relationship, whatever. Start with why. Like, I want to create, why do you want to do this business? And then if you think about how you'll do it, right? Then that informs the what you get at the very end of all that. Okay. So most people just get so fixated on the what and they go backwards, right? But if you get fixated on the what, like, I want X amount of money, then your how is going to be all mixed up, because mine is about a better return on my time. I don't want to work 40 hours a week. But if I just focused on money, then I might sign up for things. I might sign up for a how that bogs me down, right? And all of a sudden I'm working 50 hours a week. And now when I look at my why, I'm like, how did I get here? Right? But if you go the opposite way, starting with the why, then you'll choose a how that makes sense for that.
This is so good. This is so good. Thank you for, I know that we've gone a little bit past the time that we had. How can people find out more about you and, just take those next steps closer to you? Website, scheduling link, or Facebook, like, where are you? How can they find you?
So you can find me at my website, brittanyDrozd.com. There's also a contact page there. You can reach right out to me on that contact page. I'll get it immediately. You can also find me on the different platforms, on Instagram at Britt Drozd, on Facebook. Hopefully I'll be linked on this live, so you can see me right there. LinkedIn. And yeah, I am present on all those platforms. So if you message me on any of those, you will get a response from me, and I'd be happy to be in conversation with you, give you more information about anything I said. But there's also a ebook, a freebie on my website, a lead generation tool, like Susie
Right?
talked about, where if you, it'll pop up for you right when you go on my website. It'll ask you to put your email in, and you will get my 21-page ebook that talks about these distinctions and actually has a workbook for you to go through and find your answers to that. You'll actually find your why, which can guide you through.
Wow, 21 page, I'm writing that down, 21-page ebook, workbook. All right, I'm going to get that too. Brittany, thank you so much. This was a great way to spend the day and to really, or to start the day and then to focus, as I have been. I sent my email this morning and it was the same thing, work smarter, not harder. You're here today, listen to Amy Porterfield the other day. Like, that's the message I'm receiving. And I think that you're buttoned it down. Thank you so much. You guys, if you have any questions, you can pop them in the chat, and Brittany will answer that later. Aaron Usher is on the chat, and she is saying he was saying it's a terrific discussion, and she's glad that he saw it and had time to sit in. I'm glad you're here too, Aaron. All right, I'm going to sign off, and you guys will keep in touch with Brittany in all the ways that she mentioned.
Thank you.